Okay, I'm back, at least for hopefully the duration of winter break. We'll see how the semester starts next time. I also applied for an internship, so if I have 2 jobs, you will not see me until June of next year. What is this video, you may ask? Well, it's going to be my 3rd quarterly wrap-up, even though it's December 13th. And that is for all of the books of July, August, and September. You know, I didn't want anyone to miss out on all of the beautiful things I read in those 3 months just because I was in school. I wasn't planning on not filming and doing videos during the semester, but I very quickly was like, this is so much work. And I loved the semester though. It was great. I was in well, it's actually not over yet. I have 1 more class to go to. I did just finish my last assignment, but I have to present a poster with a group on Tuesday. So, but I took Lit Theory and Criticism, which was probably one of the best classes I've ever taken. Here's the book for it. I rented it, and I literally think I'm going to ask them how much it is for me to just buy it, because I'm not going to act like that's not weird of me to want this, but I want it, and I'm just going to ask. I also took a fiction writing class. Beautiful. Loved my professor. It was amazing. I took a sociolinguistics class. That was really cool. What else did I take? Oh, I took a radical behaviorism class for my psych minor. That was also really awesome. It was just every Monday, once a week for 3 hours. So that was, oh, I have to take that final. I'm afraid I'm going to forget that because it's online. I also took a poetry class, which we're not going to talk about because I don't believe in speaking poorly about people on the internet. Alas, here we are for my very late 3rd quarterly wrap-up of the year. I'm like hot though. I need to take this sweatshirt off. So let's get started. Sorry, I'm sitting on a pillow because I'm just small and it's really awkward. Okay, let's go back. The last thing I talked to you guys about was Voyage in the Dark by Jean Rhys, because I read that for my summer class. So that brings us to the first book that I finished in July. I actually read this June 20th through July 1st. So I don't know why I didn't include it in June, but it is The Adults by Allison Espach. Wait, did I talk about this? I can't imagine I didn't. Okay, yeah, I didn't talk about it. That's weird. Anyway, yeah, also, it's been quite a few months since I read these, so bear with me. But yeah, we have The Adults by Allison Espach. This is one of my favorite books. I'm not gonna lie. It's actually so good. I don't think about it very much, but it follows a really young girl and just kind of her battles with like friendship and the adults in her life, and it follows her up until she's, I want to say, like 24 or something, and she has a very interesting relationship with this man in her life, aka her teacher. So I thought it was well written in the sense that it really points out how every adult in her life kind of failed her, like her parents and her friends' parents and the teacher himself, and how it just turned into all of this weird stuff. But it's also not a story that focuses on how this all ruins her life kind of vibe. It really, oh my god, it's just so beautiful. Like, I could reread this, I think. This has a high rereadability for me, personally. I hope that was a good description, but I don't know. I don't even remember her name. I think it's Emily. Oh yeah, Emily, and it's her 15th birthday that it starts at. Okay, so she is 14 right at the beginning. Not sure. But the details get lost on me, but I'm left with the vibe that it gave me. Oh my god. Okay, this next one, I had seen these books on TikTok. I found it in a thrift store for $2. It's this author who writes like crazy smut books, and then like you don't really realize what they are. I like literally can't express how much I'm not the target audience for these books, and I'm not even going to talk about it because I don't think it's fair. The next one, I can't decide if I want to say a lot or say nothing at all. I was gifted this book. I didn't really have the intentions of reading it because I didn't think I was going to like it. And that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. And I do, in fact, have Iron Flame and Onyx Storm as well. Again, gifted to me. So, here's what I'm going to say about this. It wasn't good. However, I will give it the credit where the credit is deserved. I needed something mindless and stupid to just sit and read. I was really proud of myself for not swearing in this video, but what the fuck is my finger? And this is like a 500-page book. Or is it 600? It's 500. I never read long books. I read this in a weekend. I read it Friday, Saturday. I started it Friday, finished it Sunday. So I kind of just blew through it because, one, the reading level is like in hell. Like, it was so easy to read. And just anything that you might be confused about, they just kind of don't flesh it out, and you don't like revisit it at all later. I thought it was annoying that, what's the main character's name? Is her name Violet? Yeah, Violet. Like, she's so small and frail. Give me a break. No one cares. And what's the guy's name? Is it like Xander? Xaden. My bad. I've read worse though. I will say that also. I have read worse books than this. So again, giving credit where credit is due. The next thing I read was Old Man and the Sea, but that was a gift I gave to somebody, so I don't have it. Really liked it. I think I just liked it because, I don't know, if there's like animals in a story, like I'm gonna like it. And I think it was well written. I did not like The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. So I'm not sure if that was a one-off. I don't know if I'll ever read any more of his stuff, but I liked Old Man and the Sea, and I did not like The Sun Also Rises. I don't think I could tell you what happened in The Sun Also Rises, but I really, really loved Old Man and the Sea. So I'll have to get my own copy of that because I really liked it and I miss it. Anytime I give someone a book, like whether it's to borrow or like as a present, I just can't. Like it physically upsets me. This is the last book I had to read for my summer class, and I was actually filming a what I read in a week, but these next two books will make you understand why I didn't end up finishing that video or doing anything with it. So first, we have Liliana's Invincible Summer by Cristina Rivera Garza. This is a memoir autobiography moment about, what's her name? Yeah, oh, Christina, duh. Her sister gets murdered, and it's about like the femicide in Mexico, and this is one of the most well-written nonfiction books. It's so beautiful. I annotated the crap out of it, like, and I was crying the whole time. It is so sad, and the way that her friends and family talk about her, and it starts with Christina like kind of opening up her case again because her boyfriend that murdered her never really got charged, and which I like can't even get started on that. Like this book, I was literally crying the whole time. Like I thought I was gonna make myself sick. I was crying so much. And it was the last book we had to read for the class, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I really loved all the books I read for that class, to be so honest, but this was very, very rough. I would definitely recommend this if you kind of want to understand the violence against women in other places of the world, especially in Mexico. But good God, you better be in a good headspace. Like you get notes from her friends, from her parents, like from her diary or journal or whatever. And just the way that she had such a beautiful outlook for life, and she had this stupid, awful boyfriend, and he killed her. And I just can't believe that happens, and it's so sad. It is a little bit hard to follow at some points because it's kind of changing its format a lot, but I think it was done in a really artistically compelling way, if that makes sense. I was doing that for what to read in a week, and then I literally read probably the worst book I've read all year. Like maybe I've read a worse book this year, but I don't know what it would be. This is Holding Up the Universe by Jennifer Niven. I loved All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven, so I had very, very high hopes for this. I imagine my horror when I get done reading this beautiful, horrifically sad nonfiction book. This will probably make me sad because All the Bright Places made me sad. I cried a lot reading that book. I cannot believe how angry this book made me. So if you don't know what this is about Libby and Jack. Jack has face blindness. Hang on, he says what the actual disease is. Let's see if I can pronounce it. Oh yeah, prosopagnosia. So face blindness. He doesn't recognize everyone. Everyone is a stranger, basically, because he can't register it and recognize it, put a face to a person. But then there is Libby, who is overweight, and she used to be even more overweight, to the point where she had to be cut out of her house and airlifted to the hospital, and it was like broadcast on the news or something. And so everybody knew who this girl was. Don't worry, Jack remembers her. The reason she got so big was because her mom died, or her parents got divorced or something. I think it was because her mom died. There is definitely a way to write about what it's like to be bullied in high school, especially if you're overweight and unlikable or something. This is not that. I'm also way too old to be reading this. I just turned 23. I was 22 when I read this. This is definitely for 14-year-olds. Like my best friend, when she read it when she was 14, rated it at 5 stars. When I was reading this out loud to her, because I was doing what I read in a week, and we did a day where we read together, I was like, what is this? How did you rate this 5 stars? Like, let me I wish I would have annotated this because I like am never giving this book away. Let me read you how they introduce Libby. My name is Libby Stout. You've probably heard of me. You probably watched the video of me being rescued from my house. Last count, 6,345,981 people have watched it. So there's a good chance you're one of them. 3 years ago, I was America's fattest teen. I weighed 653 pounds at my heaviest, which means I was approximately 500 pounds overweight. I've always been fat. The short version of the story is that my mom died and I got fat, but somehow I'm still here, and this is no way my father's fault. 2 months after I was rescued, we moved to a different neighborhood on the other side of town. These days I can leave the house on my own. I've lost 302 pounds, the size of 2 entire people. I have around 190 to go, and I'm fine with that. I like who I am, for one thing. I can run now. I can ride in a car and buy clothes at the mall instead of specially ordering them. And I can twirl along, aside from no longer being afraid of organ failure. That is the best thing about now versus then. However, it does not let you forget that she was the bitch that was airlifted out of her house because she was 15 years old and 600 pounds. And then, like, you start reading, you're like, okay, this could work. But then Jack is awful to her. What does he do exactly? I don't remember. I'm not gonna try. Okay, I just remember there's this, like, horrible thing that the boys do at the school to make fun of the fat girls, where they, like, jump on their backs and, like, something about riding the bull, like, at a freaking fair or something. That's what he did to her. He jumped on her and held on to her like she was a damn cow. But there's one part, I'm sorry, this is totally spoiling it, but, like, don't read this book. Like, read all the bright places, please. Jack does something mean to her. They, like, go on a date at some point, and she's like, you're joking. And they go together so he can get diagnosed with the face blindness thing, and then go and tell his parents, like, yeah, this is why I suck. Like, he tried to take a different kid home from a kid's birthday party instead of his little brother. Like, it's, like, crazy. But there's literally a part where she walks around in school in, like, a purple bikini after swim class. Which, what are we talking about? I live in Nevada. There's no swim class, like, unless you're on the swim team. And there's no pool in the school. And you wouldn't be wearing a bright purple bikini. And I don't even remember how it ends. It's, like, so stupid. Like, so imagine me trying to film a what I read in a week, and these are what I start with. Yeah, that's why that video never saw the light of day. But then, okay, the next thing was good. I was gonna reread Book Lovers by Emily Henry, because that is, like, everyone's favorite Emily Henry book, and I didn't like it. And then I went and read all the, like, premises of her books, and I decided to reread Beach Read instead, which I had a really good time with. I really love that her name is January. I think it's a little bit, like, you know, like, I'm an author and I need to find a unique name, but I love this anyway, and it was just as good the second time around. And I don't particularly think this book has a high readability rate, but it was just, like, a reminder of why I love Emily Henry's books, even though they're really not my favorite. But, like, I really loved Funny Story. That is my favorite book by her. I have yet to read A Great Big Beautiful Life. We'll see about that one. Haven't heard great things about it. I think Happy Place and Funny Story are my favorite. Oh, no, actually, I'm going to back up on that. Funny Story and Beach Read are my favorite. And then Happy Place. And then People We Meet on Vacation. And then Book Lovers. But anyway, if you don't know what this is about, it's about January and Gus. And January's dad dies? Or is it her mom? No. One of her parents dies. Anyway, her dad was having an affair, and she gets left the beach house. Yeah, like, her dad had to have died. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. One thing about me is I will immediately forget what happens in a book, and I have to, like, really get into it in my head. Anyway, so she gets this beach house, and she's an author, and she's, like, struggling because she's, like, depressed because, like, her dad died, and she's like, oh my god, you, like, we're having an affair. Like, this is insane. Did her dad die? Or is it her mom? Oh, her mom has cancer. Hang on, let me look this up. Who died? One of them died. Are they both dead? Yeah, her father. Okay, but her mom, like, used to have cancer. She finds out that her dad was cheating on her mom and stuff, and then she gets off this beach house, and there's a grumpy author man named Gus next door. And it's great. It's great. And there's like this book club, and it's like all of her other books where there's a really good sense of community, and I just thought, this is great. If you haven't read it and you like romance, just read it. Like, please. It's so worth it, in my opinion. Let's see. What else did I read? Okay. Oh, that wasn't the last book I read for my... Okay. Just kidding. Let me back up. This was not the last book I read for my class. Can you tell it's been many months since summer? It is literally... What month? It's December. Like, I'm talking about July here. So, again, bear with me. This is the last book we read for class. This is Trumpet by Jackie Kay. I'm gonna have to spoil this a little bit so I can tell you what it's about. It is, when is this set in? I want to say it's set in the 50s. But it's about this couple named Joss is the guy. What's the wife's name? Millie. Which, I love the name Millie for a person. Like, I know dogs named Millie. Shout out my cousin's dog Millie. But I also love like a person named Millie. Anyway, so this is where I have to spoil it a little bit. Joss dies, and the whole world finds out that he's trans because he's a famous musician, and his son never knew he was adopted, and they kept it from him, and Millie was the only person that knew, and the reason he died is because he didn't want to go to the doctor because they were going to find out, and something was wrong with his liver or something. But it's just like a really honest, interesting, deep, nuanced perspective of like trans people and queerness, because their son Coleman is like, what do you mean my dad was a woman? Like, how did I not know this? Not that trans men are women. That's not what I'm saying. That's what he's saying. But it is so beautiful, and the way that Millie loves Joss, and the way that she feels horrible for not telling Coleman what was going on. Sorry, I'm trying to find a quote in here that I wanted to read out loud. This is something that I never would have read if I hadn't been in... This is why you go to college. Sorry, I'm not saying that everyone needs to go to college, but this is something I never would have read if I hadn't been in the class for it. Same with Liliana's Invincible Summer, and I just... I really, really appreciate being in school. I love school so much. Let me just read this to you, and this is how the whole book is read. Like, it is so beautiful. It says, I always liked Sundays with Joss. Sundays with Joss at home, not traveling with the band. Sundays at home with me. We wake and we fall back into sleep together several times before we get up. Each time we wake, we smile kindly at each other, full of sleepy love. Our faces have the lines of dreams on them. Joss's pillow is damp from dribbling in his sleep, and a tiny pool of dampness makes me feel tender towards him. Sometimes I wake alone for a little bit and lie and watch him sleep. I love watching him sleep. His face often looks quite moody when he's sleeping, and it makes me laugh. He lies on his side facing me, one arm thrown back over his head, the other hand possessive on my hip. In his sleep, he strokes my hip. The dip of it is his favorite place, the dip where my hip meets my waist. In his sleep, he loves me terribly. He remembers me, whether he's conscious or not. He knows every part of my body. If I was sad, he would wake and ask me what the matter is. If I drift off with him, back to sleep, another 10 minutes. Just another 10 minutes. That is how the whole book is written. It's just so good. Like, she loves him so much, and he trusts her so much, and it is just so heartbreaking with their son just feeling like he was lied to his whole life and not being able to talk to his dad anymore, being like, I know what is going on, and he's like questioning his mom. Sorry, I'm like so plugged up. I've been sick, if you can't tell. It also wasn't too bad to read because this was published in the 90s, I think, and sometimes I feel like 90s writing, I'm like, what are you saying? But I would really highly recommend this book. I think I gave it 5 stars. And I did another reread. I was gonna go on like a rereading arc, and then I just kind of stopped reading because school started. But this is the next reread I did. This is Out on a Limb. This has a really high rereadability rate. I've talked about this before, so I'm not gonna go too crazy in it. But this is by Hannah Boden Young. Loved this book. It is my favorite romance. It has the pregnancy trope, but you literally have to bear with me on it. Like, I'm serious. Like, it works. Like, Bo, I need Bo so bad. And Winnie is great. And the best friends are great, which we'll get into the best friends because I read the book about them also. But, oh my god, it's just so good. Again, not going to delve into that too much because I've talked about it a million times before. But, shout out that book. It is the best. Shout out Heather's Bookshelf. Or, what's her name? I don't know. I don't know her user, but she recommended that, and here we are. Then another book I read that I rated 4 stars, but I honestly think it deserves 5 stars, is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. I read Cleopatra and Frankenstein. Did I read that at the beginning of this year or last year? Let's Let's take a gander, shall we? I read Cleopatra and Frankenstein literally a year ago. Okay, beautiful. But so I read this, and this was so good. So this is about 4 sisters. It's Bonnie, Avery, Lucky, and Nikki. And Nikki dies from an overdose because she has severe endometriosis, and she was addicted to pain meds and took some bad ones that had fentanyl in it, I think, is what happened. And all 4 of the sisters and both of their parents struggle with addiction. And yeah, Avery is a lawyer, Bonnie is a boxer, Lucky is a model, and Nikki was a teacher. And oh my god, this is so good. Like, I don't think there are very many better portrayals of like how weird family dynamics can be than this book. And it just being focused on the sisters and like the things that they all have in common, such as addiction, and the way it just drives them apart. This particularly had a very well done, not nice bow ending. Do you know what I mean? But oh my god, it's just so good. And all of their characters are so interesting and well developed. Like, Avery is married to this woman named Sheedy. It's actually pronounced Cheedy. I don't know why I said it like that. Her, and then Bonnie is in love with her boxing coach, and Lucky is a mess, to say the least. And oh my god, it's just so good. Like, you don't understand. Like, if you read Cleopatra and the Frankenstein, you would love this. Just, I mean, the complexity of sisterhood. Like, I have 1 sister. I cannot imagine having 3. That is atrocious. No one should ever have 3 sisters. But also, it's like the best thing that ever happened to them. So, I would highly recommend this one. Okay, now, I read Out of the Woods, which is based off of Winnie's best friend. What is her name? Sarah and Caleb. So this is about Sarah and Caleb, and I loved Sarah and Caleb in Out on a Limb, and so I was very excited. So Caleb and Sarah have been together since high school. Like, Sarah lost her mom, and yada yada yada. It's about them like kind of rekindling and falling back in love, but they go on this like stupid nature retreat, and it's just stupid. I think that Hannah Bonham Young does better writing about a new romance rather than an old romance, and like the rekindling of that. And I felt like there were too many characters, and none of them were compelling. Like, again, I loved Sarah and Caleb in this. Did not care about them in this at all. And I also, like, this one is really short. I think, well, it's not. It's 300 pages. But I think a story like this needs to not be a romance, and it needs to be just, like, a contemporary fiction. Because this just, it's not that it wasn't romantic. It just, there's a reason that romance books are about new love. Do you know what I mean? So I think if this was marketed to me as a fiction and it like laid back a little bit on some of the romance aspects and more on the reality of life aspects, I think I would have liked it. This is when I started reading This Summer I Turned Pretty, because the 3rd season was coming out, and I just, you know how it is. Like, I don't need to talk about this with you. Like, here's a few things I'm gonna say. Jeremiah sucks less in the books. Conrad is less compelling in the books, and Belly is just as annoying as she is in the show. And also, Susanna's weird. Also, Stephen, like, is not a character. Like, he's not there. I think it's really fun to, like, read the show and watch the book. Read the book and watch the show, and vice versa, in whatever order. I prefer to read the books first, but, I mean, I started watching Heated Rivalry. I'm not even gonna get into that. That is, there's no plot, as far as I can tell. But I bought the book, but it's on back orders. I spoke way too damn soon. Never listen to me ever again. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit and shove The Summer I Turned Pretty down your throat, because that's all summer was. I bought the first Summer I Turned Pretty and then read another book and then read the other 2. This is the book I read in between. This is Brutes. I really can't tell you what this is about because I don't remember, and I'm not sure if I ever understood what was going on. I could have probably put a little more attention to this. I just didn't. But it's about these girls that are obsessed with this other girl, and then she, like, goes missing, and it, like, kind of flashes back and forth from the, like, when they were younger to when they're older. It sounds really nice. Like, listen to the summary. In Falls Landing, Florida, a place built of theme parks, swampy lakes, and what is that word? Flowers? Whatever. Something sinister lurks in the deep. A gang of 13-year-old girls obsessively orbits around the local preacher's daughter, Sammy. Which, her being the preacher's daughter, like, doesn't even matter. She's mesmerizing, older, and in love with Eddie, but suddenly Sammy goes missing. Where is she? Watching from a distance, they edge over closer to the dark secret about their fame-hungry town and the cruel cost of a ticket out. What they will see will continue to haunt them for the rest of their lives. I don't even think that describes it. It starts with them, like, pre-obsession of Sammy, and then her being obsessed, and then them just, like, being kind of the worst teenage girls ever, and then, like, their parents being annoying, and then, yeah, it, like, flashes back to their futures, but, like, not in any way that matters. Like, what did I rate this book? I rated it 3 stars. Yeah, it was kind of nothing. Okay, this next book really disappointed me, I'm not gonna lie. I read Evenings and Weekends because this was part of Jack Edwards book club. I'm not, like, closely following it because, again, school. But I was like, you know what? This is the first one he's doing. Like, school's about to start. Like, let me read this. I read this the first week of school, basically. It was good. There were some lines that really, really hit for me. But overall, I didn't like it very much. There's a lot of characters, and I just did not enjoy most of them. Like, not even like a, oh, they're meant to be unlikable, and then so I didn't like them. It just, they weren't people that I was particularly interested in keeping up with. And, like, even the two, like, the couple that I feel like is supposed to be the main characters, I didn't really care about them. Like, and they get pregnant, and then there's, like, some of their parents are, like, some of the main characters too. And there's this beached whale. This is set in London, or England somewhere, because beach, I don't know. Yeah, their parents are, like, oddly, like, main characters in it. And sorry, I'm trying to find a quote because there was a quote in here that I really liked. Yeah, some of their parents are, like, oddly part of it, and it just, I don't know. But I will say, it's good writing. The story and the characters were not for me. But I totally understand why Jack Edwards picked this book. And I don't remember if he liked it or anything, but anyway, let me read you this quote. It's about, like, Phil loving his roommates. He said, now Phil often goes to the kitchen to get a glass of water and ends up staying to talk for hours. He doesn't get anything done on those days, but his life is better for it. During those marathon conversations, Phil feels as if he is living his actual life and everything that came before was a dry run. If that doesn't sum up what it's like to live with roommates, I don't know what is. Like, I love having roommates. It's beautiful. There's that. And then the last book I read in September, basically the only book I read in September, was Benito Sereno by Herman Melville. I don't remember what is he famous for? What did he write? Hang on. This is so stupid that I don't know this, because I remember when I found out that, oh, he wrote Moby Dick. Like, duh. This is about a Captain Delano, or Delano, I don't know where the emphasis is on his name. Also, look how short this is, except it is the most dense thing I've read in my entire life. Like, I cannot even. I don't even, like, it was so dense, I can't even give an opinion on whether I liked it or not. It's just not even about that. But it's about, like, a captain who something happens with his ship, and he gets on this other ship. And I'm just gonna spoil it, because this book is literally so old and no one is reading this. Oh, I read this. I'm reading this for class. I read this. This is the first book I read for my lit theory class. Let me put that out there. But it's about this guy, something happens on his ship, so he's on this other ship that seems like a slave ship. The slaves are actually holding the captain hostage. And it's so interesting. And it's just, like, the way it talks about how people used to view black people as, like, entirely different species. The way that Captain Delano is, like, describing the black people on these ships as if they're animals and not human, which comes to bite him in the ass because they're actually literally planning a slave revolt on the damn ship. But he just doesn't, like, for so long, he's, like, not even seeing that it's happening because he's like, they're not smart enough to do that. And this was written, like, right after the Haitian Revolution, I think is what we were talking about. And it's just crazy. If you, like, for some reason love a dense piece of literature by Herman Melville from the freaking 1800s or whenever this was written, would recommend. Like, I mean, it was really fun to, like, break apart in class in an academic setting. But my definition of, like, having fun at school is not. Like, I love doing this. Like, this is what my whole degree is. Well, actually, my degree is writing, but that's not the point. Yeah, I annotated the hell out of it, mostly because I needed it for assignments. But I still had a lot of fun with this book, even though it was so dense. I had no idea what was going on. I was really lost and confused and needed a lot of guidance. And we were talking about it with, like, a bunch of different theorists and stuff. It was great. I had a lot of fun. So that was great. Great way to spend my whole September. I literally only think I read it for like 2 weeks. Yeah, I read this the 9th through the 7th. So I finished evenings and weekends. Then school really started to kick in. It was like the second and third week of school. Didn't read for a week. Read that for 2 weeks. And then didn't read again until October 2nd. So we will get a separate video for the last quarter. But that was my third quarter wrap up. It was really all over the place because I was like finishing my summer class, and then yeah, I had to read freaking this, and I read a lot of stuff I didn't like, but I wasn't having a bad time. Like, I was still thoroughly entertained by all of it. I think, like, I mean, this was entertaining. This obviously kept me through. Like, this, I enjoyed it, like, while I was reading it until I realized I had no idea what was going on. So I was still having a lot of fun, even though I didn't love it. I tried so hard to get into this, like, that I ended up, like, kind of forcing myself to like it. But, you know, summer ended up pretty good. Like, it was a good first month of school. As of right now, as of December 13th, I am 47 books in, and I want to get to 50 by the end of the year. I've curated a little mini winter break / end of the year TBR. But again, I'd like to film a little bit over break, and I don't know, I gotta travel to go see my parents. That is all the plans I have. Can I be honest? My parents don't listen to me right now. A little bit of me hopes that I don't get the internship so that I could maybe film over the semester, because I'm only taking 4 classes and it's my last semester. So that's my little confession. But I also hope I get it because it'd look good on my resume. It's a publishing internship at the school. So, but alas, that's my little life update / my quarterly wrap up.